Hey everyone, it's John with the E-Center. Hope you're doing well. It's a beautiful Friday here in Decatur. I'm here with Michele Hendry, owner of Hailos. Good to see you today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Happy to be here.
Thank you. You're giving us a very cool space to talk in, so thank you for that.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, well, so I want to jump in. You know, part of your story is your family's been living in Franklin, Tennessee.
Yes.
Great place. Nice
Phenomenal
place.
place.
Yes, absolutely. Actually, a lot of ties between Decatur and Franklin. Joey and Bibb, other people who live there, have ties back to Decatur. So a whole story about that some other time. But tell us a little bit about, you're living in Franklin, you got good business in Franklin. I see building a business in Decatur, I get that. But talk about personally moving your family to Decatur. Why did that happen? What's been happening? Tell us a little bit about that.
So exactly a year ago, well, a few months prior to that, honestly, I've had a business going at that point for almost 5 years. And I said to my husband, I want to open my own brick and mortar. At this point, I had only been Facebook, I had a website, and then I also had some rented booth space that I ran the business out of. And I said to him, I think I want to open my own business, my own brick and mortar. And he's like, okay. And I started working with a couple of commercial real estate agents, and that proved to be a little bit tougher, much different than buying a home. Commercial real estate, whole different ballgame. And it was actually kind of difficult to even get people to talk to me, to take me serious, because I wasn't coming in as this big corporation or this big business. It was just a small business trying to open a store in Franklin. So found a couple people willing to help me and found a couple of spaces. And talk about sticker shock. It was a whole nother level of sticker shock when I got how much it was going to be to rent space in Franklin. And you start looking at it, and as a small business, it really can make or break a business. And probably a small business break more than anything, because it was just astronomical. And so I started talking to my husband some more. We, at this point, we're empty nesters, and my husband's job is 100% virtual. And I said to him, I'm like, what if we started looking at other places? And we also have a home on Swift Lake. And my husband loves doing research. He'll research anything. He starts talking to some different marketing companies, things like that, and said to them, we would be willing to go anywhere from Nashville to Smith Lake.
Okay.
That was kind of our area.
Okay.
And they came back and said, there's this little town called Decatur. It's outside of Huntsville. Huntsville is growing like crazy. It's right there by it. I think we should check it out. I said, well, I know where you're talking about, because I would stop at the Publix. Said this a bunch on my way to Decatur. That's the only thing I could have told you about Decatur was the Publix. And so one day on the way to the lake, I came to check out Decatur and fell in love with it. It was love at first sight for me. I loved the small town feel of it. So between that and hearing the growth that was happening here and in the surrounding areas, it kind of became a no-brainer. It was really easy decision. So then we started looking at real estate, and I said to my husband, I think we should do it. And we were living the typical life that you hear about in Franklin. We had a farm in Franklin. We loved everything about Franklin. People thought we were nuts that we would want to sell our farm in Franklin and move to somewhere where we knew no one. And we did just that. So exactly a year ago, we put our farm on the market.
Wow.
Well, let me rephrase that. We didn't even have to put it on the market. It just sold.
Yeah.
And then bought the building that we're in today last summer, and here we are.
So That's a cool story. When you were riding around Decatur, I mean, you had been to Publix on your way to the lake, so
Yep.
you kind of got that. You said it's a pretty easy decision for you. Was there anything specific that made you think, this fits, this fits, this fits, and then together, this is making it a really easy decision to move to Decatur?
So several things that instantly, when I drove through, I loved the neighborhoods.
Okay.
Like, and I'm still learning, so I don't even know totally where I was initially. But I was kind of over in Point Mallard. I'm like, this neighborhood is so pretty. And then we looked, because we were living on a farm, so we looked at a couple of farms, and I'm like, these are so pretty. And then when the agent we were working with, when we started looking at commercial, he brought me to Bank Street.
Yeah.
And at this time, Bank Street was a little quiet.
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot happening on Bank Street.
Okay.
But it really was, I've said before, kind of like the Pilgrims of old, where I was like, this is the place. Bank Street just spoke to me, and I think having spent the last 20 years in Nashville, which is how long we have been there, we saw Nashville explode. We moved there in 2004, and it just exploded. And you could feel the potential of Decatur and what was possible when I was on the street.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, I wanna do it. I think there's so much potential on this street. And there was a jewelry store, Jamie Hood's jewelry store was
Yeah.
here before, and we talked to Jamie, and he was willing to sell, and so it was more seeing the potential, I think, than anything. It just has a neat energy on the street, and then I started learning what's happening, and others are feeling the same way, and what was coming, and I'm like, this is gonna be so good, so good.
Well, you're part of helping build that. I mean, Bank Street's a special street to a lot of us already, but it's also always about what it's becoming. And you, the other business owners, the people investing, you're creating what it's becoming. So thank you.
I'm excited to be here. You can see, having Franklin's experience,
Okay.
there's no reason that this cannot be a similar street. It's just as much as downtown Franklin, and just how Nashville exploded. Franklin is, Franklin became what Franklin is because Nashville exploded,
Yeah.
right? And you see the same thing in Huntsville. Huntsville's exploding, which then takes Athens, takes Decatur. It's the same. Decatur is to Huntsville what Franklin is to Nashville.
Yeah.
And I want to help make it all that it's capable of becoming, I think.
Well, and it's interesting if you think economically. Nashville has such this healthcare concentrated presence. Healthcare has been a significant portion of our economy, obviously. Huntsville has received and done a really good job utilizing this massive federal investment and has diversified beyond it, but has created this growth that I think we can all benefit from. And Decatur, Morgan County wants to be Decatur, Morgan County, but we can grow and continue to create opportunities for people while we stay true to who we're trying to be.
Yes.
Okay, so a quote something you said to me, see if I got it right. I'm not sure Decatur always knows what Decatur has.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, and it's kind of expanding on what I was saying. Having seen what has happened in Nashville and in Franklin is exactly what I've said. Decatur doesn't know what Decatur has. There's so much potential. I've actually said to my friends in Nashville that are kind of like looking for ways of investing and things like that, I'm like, come to Decatur, come to Huntsville, come to this area. It's just, so many great things are going to be happening here, and I'm so happy to be part of it, because it's a gem. It really is. the people, John, including yourself, but I cannot believe how, here I'm an outsider, right? Here I come to Decatur. People treat me like I've been here my whole life. They treat me like family, so kind, so supportive, really want my business to be supportive and welcoming. It's been fun to see. I had no idea I had so many friends from Decatur, like that live in Nashville now. That's been really fun. If I post something on Facebook, they'll say, "You're in Decatur? I grew up in Decatur." I'm like, I had no idea that there were so many. But people, as soon as you say that, especially people that grew up here, they're like, "Oh, I get it. It's a neat place. I know why you're there," So
That's why we came back too.
yeah, it's a neat, Decatur doesn't know what Decatur has would be the quote for sure.
Okay.
Because it's a gem. And great things are happening, and I'm excited to be part of it.
Well, you're definitely a part of it. So let's talk about business a little bit.
Okay.
So talk about, Hailos, talk about, you've already talked about why the location. Tough business, tough industry, a lot of competition. So first, I want to just talk about your business, why it's been able to be successful. This is not your first rodeo. You now own a building, you have a storefront. But talk a little bit about your approach to becoming successful, the customers you serve, what's your message to them? What do you want them to understand about this business and how it serves them? And what do you think have been key aspects of your success that other entrepreneurs can learn from?
I think probably there's several things that come to mind. I think one thing is I try really hard to stay in my lane.
Okay.
And I think I've seen, as I was telling you, I rent space in, it's called Painted Tree Marketplace. It's fantastic. I have great friends there, other entrepreneurs doing similar type things. And you can see those that don't really know what their lane is, what they're good at, what they're interested in, and they try to do too many things. They, versus when you stay at what you're good at, I think that's when you can be the most successful. And not trying to do a little bit of everything where you hear like, oh, this is a good idea, I'm gonna go try that, and I'm gonna go try this, and I'm gonna go try that. And then you spread yourself too thin and you don't do anything well. So I think my key would be stay in your lane and what you do really well. So when I'm picking out clothes, for instance, I think of things that I like to wear. And I'm not trying to pick out something maybe for as much a young person, because that's not my lane. That's not what I'm good at. And at the same time, I think there are, if you go to an apparel show, for instance, I mean, talk about like being able to get so distracted. There are so many things there to pick from, and I just think, what would I like? What would I want someone? And there are beautiful clothes and very expensive clothes, or very cheap clothes, and I'm like, if it were me, I'd like to get a nice quality thing, but I don't want to pay a gazillion dollars for it, right? So that's kind of my lane. How do I get fun, trendy things for women that don't break the bank?
And source things that you just can't find anywhere,
Right.
all the time,
Right.
or easily.
Right. And it takes a lot of patience in these shows because they're exhausting. And my husband jokes a lot that I'm just out having a good time shopping, but it's a lot because you're just going through all these, thousands and thousands and thousands of items and trying to pick out kind of, as my friend said, the needle in the haystack of clothes for what I think good quality. That's probably my thing, finding good quality, trendy items that don't break the bank.
Okay, so something you said about staying in your lane. There's a lot of entrepreneurs out there who are thinking, I'd like a lane. I'd like to know what my lane is. Wouldn't even mind staying within it. But what is my lane? Can you talk a little bit about how you go about defining your lane as an entrepreneur?
It's people, if you're around me at all, you quickly learn that I'm obsessed with podcasts. And I listen to podcasts all the time. I think there's a wealth of information out there, and there are so many that talk about this very thing. And you hear a lot about, like, is it your passion? Is it your lane? Is it whatever you want to call it? And I think at the end of the day, it's what excites you. And if you had asked me, I've always liked to, like, dress, like, have nice clothes or things like that, but I don't know that I necessarily would have said that was my passion. But when I learned back in the day, I have an entrepreneurial spirit, and I learned that, hey, clothes come in packs for women, in packs of 6, 2 smalls, 2 mediums, 2 larges. So if I get together with my small, medium, large friends, we could fill a pack and sell it. And that's how I started. And I would put on my little Facebook group, hey, this shirt's cute, does anyone else want it? And they would come in and say, I want a small, I want a medium, and then they would come pick it up on my front porch. That's how I started. So what I quickly learned is I loved making this available for my friends. That is what I loved. Finding things that they were excited about. So it was a little bit less about the actual cute shirt or the cute dress or the cute pants, but it was how excited they get to come and find something. And I find that's kind of my lane. That's what, when I get a lady in here that says, this happened to me last Saturday, she came, she tried on a dress, and she's like, I never find a dress that fits me. And I'm like, that is my lane. Okay. That is finding and helping people feel good in their clothes. That's what excites me. That's what gets me up in the morning, makes me go, where can I find something else for this lady? And now that I do men's with what a man's gonna like and what a man wants to wear. That is kind of my lane. And so, long answer, I think it's finding the thing that just excites you, because that's what you're going to work hard at, right? And at the end of the day, that's what grows a business. It's hard work, it's consistency, it's dedication. But the only way that you're going to do that is if it's something that excites you, and you find that whatever that is, it could be anything. But if you're doing it because it excites, if I'm trying to do something that excites you, it's not going to work for me. It's not going to wake me up in the morning and go, I cannot wait to go do this. Because you're going to have those mornings that you don't want to get out of bed, right?
That's 100%.
But if it's something that excites you, call it your passion, call it your lane or whatever, I think that's where you find success.
So what's interesting about that is you're talking about your lane, but so much of your lane is about what you love doing for other people. So young entrepreneurs out there, you're always encouraged to focus on yourself. No one buys a product from your business just because of yourself. So it's, something you love, but what do you love doing for other people as well? And that's going to be, I'm sure, the most fulfilling part. Yes, you sold a dress so your business can continue, but you help that lady find a dress that fits. I'll bet that's what you take home with you and remember.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
And it's all, and I think that is too, I'm trying to think, I think all businesses, you can find a way that you can serve somebody else. No matter what, whether it's selling clothes, whatever it is, and when you can serve someone else, there's nothing better than that. There's nothing better.
That's true. Yeah, and it's good in your life and it's good in theirs.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll wrap up. Really have enjoyed this. This is going too fast. It's too fast.
I can talk all day.
50 more questions and I don't have time. But I want to talk just a minute about business selling direct to consumers. Not easy.
No.
There's a lot of people out there with product ideas, there's service ideas, they want to sell them to people, but then they think there's a billion Facebook ads, there's so many other products. How do I get started? What's your top 3 pieces of advice for people who are thinking about selling something to consumers in the market?
I think the biggest thing I can say, so I've been an online business now for 6 years, I guess. And it started out, as I said, in my Facebook group. And that started with 200 women and went to over 2,000 women.
Yeah.
And then I started renting his space and exposed me to more people. And then COVID happened. And online business exploded because there was nothing else to do, right? You couldn't go anywhere and shop, so you had to shop online. Then after that, we were kind of let out again and could shop. Online business tanked.
Huh.
Tanked because we could get out. And so as you look at I say that like online businesses do this, I think. But I think the thing that's consistent is who's behind the business. And I think you have to have some personality, face behind it, and that's what makes you it. At the end of the day, people buy from people. And so whether I think it's why influencers are so successful right now, because it's a face to that. I can trust you. I know if you say this is something good that I should buy, I'll swipe up, I'll click the link, whatever, and go buy it. But it's why businesses are putting huge money into influencers, because there's a face, there's a person.
Okay.
And I would say as you're starting out, you need to put your face and let people get to know you. And then they support you. Do I have tops that no one else? I mean, I think I'm unique, but at the end of the day, you can find my clothes somewhere else.
Okay.
But what I want you to do is come shop for me, right? And what I can offer you. And that makes it different from what you can go get from someone else.
That's good.
So
That's good.
I think
True.
I think at the end of the day, and anyone can do that. You just have to be willing to put your face out. And if you don't want to put your face out, I would say find someone that is influential, because I think at the end of the day, that is what sets us apart. No matter when you talk AI or you talk all these things, at the end of the day, we all want a connection with someone else. And I think when you can get that, those are the businesses you want to support.
Nothing to add to that. Well, listen, thank you so much,
Thank
Michele.
you. This was my pleasure.
Well, really enjoyed it.
Me too.
By far the coolest space that we're going to do an interview in. So thank
I'm
you
so happy to
for
be here.
that. And hope all of you enjoyed that. We got Decatur resident Michele Hendry here, owner of Hailos. Come see her in downtown Decatur, and she wants you to come see her no matter where you're from. So thank y'all, and hope you have a great rest of the week. Bye.